Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh. I'm Stephanie Pawlowski, Commissioned Lay Minister with this church. It's December 26, 2021. We are glad you have chosen to be with us this morning. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are from, you are welcome. Whatever reason you chose to click on the link or Google our YouTube service, you are welcome. Whether you are new to the community or a longtime member, you are welcome. We are a community dedicated to welcoming the stranger and working for justice wherever the heavy weight of oppression has dug into the fabric of life. I am live in our sanctuary this morning and have with me today an incredible team. Brian Banley, our liturgist. Louise Jensick is offering a story. Kazumi Petino, who stepped in last minute due to a COVID situation. And Shayla Collins is our hymn leader. Our fabulous tech team is Paul Cunningham and Emily Sweeney. On behalf of this team, thank you for attending online worship. If this is your first time with us, we would love to be in touch with you. If you have not already done so, please go to our website at first-unitarian-pgh.org and sign up for our weekly newsletter found at the bottom of the page. You are also invited to join us for social time following this live worship. To get a Zoom link, please send an email to firstunitarianpittsburgh@gmail.com. I invite you now to take a deep breath. Arrive in body and spirit, and picture yourself connected to all others who are watching today and in the future. We turn to our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. If you have a chalice at home, we invite you to light it at this time. We light this chalice in the name of silence, in the name of peaceful quiet that restores and gives us clarity. In the words of Barbara Stevens, let this be a place of warm and gentle silence, the silence that soothes and comforts the wounded, the silence that yields insight into heart and soul, the silence that calms, the silence that listens, the silence that speaks, the silence that renews. Let this be a place of warm and gentle silence. And may this flame burn bright in your heart and mind as we worship together.
This is the Christmas Quiet Book by Deborah Underwood illustrated by Renata Lusky. Christmas is a quiet time. Mysterious bundles quiet. Searching for presents quiet. Getting caught quiet. Hoping for a snow day quiet. Bundled up quiet. Snow angel quiet. Knocking with mittens quiet. Cocoa quiet. Nutcracker quiet. Too tall tree quiet. Shattered ornament quiet. Star on top quiet. Lights on quiet. Blown fuse quiet. Gingerbread quiet. Gliding quiet. Someone's dad is a costume designer quiet. Forgotten line quiet. Helpful whisper quiet. Mistletoe quiet. Breathing clouds quiet. Luminaria quiet. Early Christmas gift quiet. Aunt Tilly's pickle and banana stuffing quiet. Reading by the fire quiet. Note to Santa quiet. Listening for sleigh bells quiet. Trying to stay awake quiet. Christmas morning quiet. The end.
Our religious community is made up of volunteers and staff, creating and hosting a variety of programming, even as we stay safe during this time of pandemic. We rely on your financial support. Please take time to reflect on your ability to financially support this community. Donations by check may be mailed to the church office. Electronic donations can be made online through the church website or by texting GIVE to 412-435-1050 and following the instructions.
Their heavenly music floats
We hold each other in our hearts and minds with all our joys and all our sorrows. We remember those who are experiencing losses of various kinds and those facing health challenges. We are aware that many are faced with heightened difficulties presented by these times that continue to be challenging for us all. May we find joy in our connections with each other and in the pleasures that life holds. Let us continue to care for one another and for ourselves in all the ways we can. We hold each other in our hearts and minds with all our joys and all our sorrows, whether spoken or unspoken. Let's take a moment to be quiet together. In the words of Gary Kowalski, maybe prayer doesn't mean talking to God at all. Maybe it means just listening, unplugging the TV, turning off the computer, quieting the mental chatter and distractions. Maybe it means listening to the birds and the insects, the wind in the leaves, the creaking and groaning of the trees, noticing who else is out there, not far away, but nearby. Sitting so still, we can hear our heartbeat, watch our breath, the gentle whoosh of it all. The funny noises from our own insides, marveling at the body we take so much for granted. Maybe it means listening to our dreams, paying more attention to what we really want from life, and less attention to the nagging, scolding voices from our past. Or maybe it's about listening to each other, not thinking ahead to how we can answer or rebut or parry or advise or admonish, but actually being present with each other. Perhaps if we just sit quietly, we'll overhear a peace whispering through the centuries that's missing from the clamor of the moment. Maybe prayer means listening to the silence between the words, noticing the negativity of space, the vast, undifferentiated, and nameless wonder that underlies it all. Maybe prayer doesn't mean talking to God at all, but listening with the heart to the angel choirs all around us. Those who have ears, let them hear. To continue with the theme of quiet, I'd like to lead you on a guided meditation by UUA President Susan Frederick Gray. I invite you, if you are willing, into this time of meditation and reflection. Find a comfortable position to sit or stand in, whatever is comfortable for you and your body, to help you feel at ease. First, I invite you to take a few relaxing breaths in and out. Feel free to close your eyes if that is most comfortable, or to leave them gently open. Breathe in a way that feels comfortable and relaxing. I invite you to just pay attention to your body. If there's a place of tension or pain, imagine breathing your breath into that part of your body. Imagine the breath expanding that area of tension, and then breathing out through the pain or tightness, feeling the muscles release with the out-breath. With breathing in, expand your attention any area of tension. Breathe out through that area, letting the tension go. Breathe in and out. In through the areas of tension, and out, letting go of the tension or pain if you can. Now I invite you to bring your attention to your heart space, to your chest or your abdomen. Gentle breaths, breathing that feels natural and relaxing. Just be aware of anything that you're feeling. If you are feeling joy or calm and peace, if you're feeling sadness or grief or anxiousness, just be aware of it. Breathe alongside the feeling. Offer yourself compassion for whatever may be present to you right now. As you continue to breathe, ask yourself if there's anything or anyone you're feeling grateful for. Ask yourself in your heart, what or who are you grateful for? Is there anyone who's caring for you, showing you care, inspiring you, comforting you? Anyone who you love, who you are grateful for? Hold that person, those people, visualize them. Hold them in gratitude that you feel for them. Breathe in the feeling of gratitude. Breathe out that gratitude for the loved ones. I invite you to take a few more breaths. And as you do, think about anything about this day, anything that's happened, anything you're looking forward to. If you have a window nearby, maybe you can see some sky, or sun, or trees, or rain. Just be present to that. Take it in. Hold your attention, anything that you are grateful for from this day. Hold that gratitude and that attention in your heart, in your mind as you breathe in and out gently. Take a few more breaths and imagine opening your heart space wide and asking if there's anything else you're grateful for, your friends, this community, your faith, connections that you appreciate and feel attentive to. Open your heart to other things in your life and this moment that you're feeling grateful for. Hold those in your attention. Breathe in the feeling of gratitude. Breathe in imagining or holding in your mind those people, those things, those connections. Breathe in gratitude. It's okay if some of our relationships are mixed with other emotions besides gratitude. Be present to that and breathe it in. Breathe in the gratitude you feel. Breathe out gratitude across those connections. As you are ready, as you continue to breathe gently, you can bring your attention back to this time, to your body, to each other, gathered in meditation. As you breathe gently, offer a word in silence or out loud or spoken, a word of gratitude for these gifts. Blessed be. Amen.
I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment, without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen at the sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12, and you keep quiet, and I will go.
A good friend sent me a CD recently. One of the songs on it was titled Homecoming by Sarah Jaraz. The lyrics include, "What makes a life complete? Roads traveled and the people you meet, or just the silence of the times in between?" It reminded me of the quote from Mozart, "The music is not in the notes, but in the silence in between." Both of those speak to me, especially now. 2 nights ago, as I sat in my living room, lit only by multicolor twinkle lights, as my family slept upstairs, I took a moment to just sit and breathe. A quiet moment of stillness before sleep, and before kids woke up searching for evidence of Santa Claus. Now Christmas has passed. Cookie baking is done. Cards have been sent and received. Gifts have been delivered and opened. Family has visited or called. Even during this continued pandemic, Christmas was busy. Now we're in that time of pause before the New Year's. After the chaos of the holiday, it sometimes seems extra quiet. Quiet. I recognize that many of us have had far too much of it during this pandemic. Too much alone time, too much separation from others. But for me, for the first year and a half of the pandemic, quiet was the one thing that I did not have in my house. With 2 kids trying to do school remotely and my office closed, there was never any quiet at all. It was a year and a half of complete chaos and little rest. By the time the kids went back to school in September, I was so excited to have the house to myself and to have some quiet. But interestingly enough, I found myself drawn to the same things I did when everyone was home to get a break. I would head to the woods for long hikes alone with our dog. I didn't take advantage of the quiet moments at home, probably because I am not someone who does quiet very well. My brain spins. I'm constantly thinking about what to do next or what I should be doing instead. Even when I am mindlessly walking somewhere or riding the bus, I catch myself humming to myself. I seem to have a need to fill every silence with some sort of sound. Only when I am alone in nature does my brain seem to stop spinning. There's something about the woods that snaps me out of my own problems and allows me to breathe in and relax. It allows me to just be and to experience the quiet in between. For many years, as part of my job, I traveled to a number of small Alaskan villages and met with families. I quickly learned that many Indigenous Alaskans speak slowly, with long pauses between words and thoughts. I had to stop myself from constantly interrupting and filling those pauses with words of my own. My natural East Coast speech pattern and my need to avoid uncomfortable pauses was curtailing others' voices. Proverbs 18:13 reads, "If one answers before they hear, it is their folly and shame." Only by stopping myself and forcing myself to sit in silence, as uncomfortable as it made me feel, it was the only way to truly hear, the only way to truly connect with others. What would it be like if we all did what Pablo Neruda wrote in Keeping Quiet, his ode to silence that Brian so beautifully read? If we all counted to 12 and kept still, it would be an exotic moment, without rush, without noise. We would all be together in silent, sudden strangeness. What could we learn about ourselves if we stopped the constant go, go, go? What can we learn from this quiet time in between the holidays and the start of the new year if we lean into it and let ourselves just be quiet and still for a change? If we don't try to fill every moment with activity and noise? Christina Rosty is quoted as saying, "Silence is more musical than any song." And Ram Dass said, "The quieter you become, the more you hear." What music is waiting for us if we sit in complete silence? What can we learn if we give up control and just be in the moment? If we allow ourselves to trust in that which is greater than ourselves and our problems? Even if you are someone who's had too much silence recently, too much quiet, intentional quiet and spiritually guided silence is a different animal altogether. Meditation is an obvious example of a spiritual practice of quiet and inner concentration. The meditation I led you in earlier is not quiet meditation, obviously. But any meditation that builds the patience and concentration of your mind is needed to engage in spiritual silence. Joseph Dispenza, a former monk, wrote in his book, Splendid Spiritual Practice, "During the time I spent living in monastic silence, I learned to distinguish between the letter and the spirit of silence. The letter of silence is just that, not speaking and not disturbing the silence around you in any way. Practicing the letter of silence, you tread as lightly as possible. Do not utter a word or any sound. Do not use sign language or body language, and even avoid reading written communication, except perhaps, on occasion, inspirational articles or books. On the outside, you are careful not only to remain silent, but to avoid intruding on the silence of others, or for that matter, of the silence of nature. On the inside, you stay away from noisy or useless thoughts. Useless thinking is the running of interior mental tapes that are set in the past or in the future. Dispenza contrasts that letter of silence with what he calls the spirit of silence. The spirit of silence poses a slightly different way of regarding being silent. When you practice the spirit of silence, you will actually find yourself speaking when it is necessary. For instance, you've decided to be silent for an afternoon. You turned off the television and the radio, you switched off the telephone ringer and the computer. You have closed down all other noise-generating appliances in the house. You sit down with an inspirational book. Then the doorbell rings unexpectedly. The mailman is delivering a package. Practicing the spirit of silence, you go to the door, accept the package gracefully, and say thank you. You have not broken your silence. In fact, you have enhanced it with a simple expression of gratitude. We cannot all live in monastic silence, but we can take the lessons that people have learned in their lengthy commitment to silence with us on a much smaller scale. I'm a perfectionist, and part of the reason I get frustrated when I do try and meditate or do yoga or be silent is that I can't quiet my mind. I engage in that useless thinking, that running of the interior mental tapes. I love that expression of Joseph Dispenza's. I can picture my mind just doing that. Many of us do it. Or our mind keeps running and running and running. When my mind does that, I give up on trying to be quiet, on trying to silence my own mental tape. Instead, I go back and allow my tape to play. I get right back into the day-to-day routine. I go back to the busyness and the chaos, instead of trying to push through the uncomfortableness of it, to step outside of my comfort zone, and to lean in and embrace the quiet. I just stop. But if we give up trying to practice the letter of silence and instead focus on its spirit, we can embrace those interruptions and learn from them as well. The White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church in Minnesota posted a guide on how to practice an hour of silence every day. In it, they note the 7 spiritual practices of waiting are patience, loss of control, living in the present, compassion, gratitude, humility, and trust in something beyond oneself. They even suggest a step-by-step guide on how to practice silence. First, they suggest scheduling an hour of silence at a particular time every day. During that hour, turn off your phone, TV, radio, computer, and all other appliances. Put down all books and all reading materials. Light a candle to be a witness to your hour of silence. Sit quietly and rest, or look carefully at natural objects, or engage in work that does not require you to hear, see, or express words. Gardening, a long walk. Listen to the silence. All the time enjoying this respite from thinking, reviewing, planning, and imagining. Stay in the present. Breathe deeply and mindfully, bringing in the silence and expelling any mental noise. At the end of the hour, let your first word be an expression of gratitude or love, and then put out the candle and go about your business. As we end this year and move into a new one, its promise of fresh starts, new possibilities, new chances for growth. Instead of starting with a to-do list, instead of jumping back into work and goals and resolutions and the busyness of life, perhaps let's start quietly. Let's quiet our minds and breath. Let's listen to the world speak to us. Perhaps the earth can teach us something. Maybe we can find meaning in the quiet in between. Now I'll count to 12, and you be quiet, and let's go together. May it be so. As we extinguish our chalice, we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we will carry in our hearts until we are together again. May we leave, taking the language of silence and stillness with us. May we continue to find time to be quiet and to grow together. Go in peace, return with love.